This is Grandfather. Now, as you know, I've been talking to people for a while now about long touch. And in your now and in your immediate future, you're going to need to be able to very gently deflect meteors, asteroids, and the occasional comet. You don't have to deflect them if they're missing the Earth by a wide margin. So just leave them alone if they're doing that. But only reach up to deflect them, and that only slightly. All right? If it looks like they're going to come close enough to the Earth to cause some harm. Now, if it's 100,000, 200,000 miles away, basically you don't have to worry. But if it comes significantly close, all right, even say 10,000 miles away, then you might want to give it just the slightest tap. Now, you might be surprised, those of you who aren't doing long touch or haven't developed it, and it takes a while to develop it for most of you, that such a thing is possible. But it is not only possible, you are all born to it with this capacity. You just don't understand how to use it. So go to the blogs, the written blogs, and read about long touch and do the homework from the beginning, and then follow along with the teaching here about long touch, and you, some of you at least, may be able to do this. Also, it would be good to study a little bit. You don't have to go to school, but study a little bit, at least on the internet, about astronomy. Astronomy will tell you various things, but the only thing you really need to know is where is it and what direction is it coming from, and that's about it. Now, I'm not saying that you may not want to study other things about astronomy. It's a wonderful thing to study very often, but in terms of tapping things out of the way, that's what you'll need to know. And you might be able to find that information on the internet easily. Now, I would like to say this. For those of you who are already there and can do the long touch, and especially have practiced slightly moving, not harshly. The whole point of long touch is to do things very slightly and very gently and very lovingly. All right? But who have been able to, at a distance, gently move a branch of a tree. Of course, you'll have to get the tree's permission first. And if you've read the written blogs, you know how to do that. Trees say good life. That's where Robbie, the channel, learned how to say good life, and you can find that post somewhere on the written blogs. But not to get too far afield here. Once you can move a branch just a little bit on a tree that has acknowledged that it's all right, and you get that acknowledged by the warmth in your chest, which is really a response to the tree providing warmth, so you know it's all right, just to give you a clue. Then you may be able to slightly tap such an object that might come close to the Earth. Now, you know, as far as objects, meteors and whatnot, striking planets or moons or whatnot, that's not so rare. But, as I've said before, you are right now taking over many of the things Mother Earth has been doing for you, one of which is to deflect such moving bodies in space. And it is your job to do that, not only because she needs to take care of herself and look after her own needs more than she used to, but also because it is time for you to begin to discover that the reason you've been feeling nervous, a lot of you, have you noticed it? I'm sure you have, is because the skills that you have when you are your natural, native soul and spirit selves, you now have them all. You just don't know what they are. And sometimes it disturbs your sleep, and sometimes you have strange dreams, and sometimes you get nervous. That's because you have these skills. So when you learn how to do these things, you will suddenly become more aware that these skills produce and activate a level of capacity in your physical body that likes to be exercised, just the same way you go out and run, or dance, or do other things that are physical expression of your physical self. All right? So, we're going to do this long touch now for those of you who are practiced. And it's very simple. When you find out what direction the object is coming from, if you, where you live, can look in the general direction of the sky where that object is coming from, now you won't be able to see it. But if you can set your intent and find out what the object is named, and it'll have some kind of name or number associated with it, then you can do this. First say, as always, I am asking that all the most benevolent energies that are available for me be all around me and all about me now to support what I'm going to do benevolently. Wait for a moment. Most of you into this long touch work will feel that. If you don't, then wait for at least 30 seconds, or 20 seconds is enough. Try not to glance at a clock. Just make your best guess. Glancing at a clock can distract you. Now, after that, say this. I am asking that as I reach towards the sky now, even though I am unable to see, and here you fill in the name of the object you're reaching for, I am asking that I be able, with the slightest move of my fingers, like that, can you see that? Moving the hand around here a little bit. Okay. Be able to move that object far enough away from the trajectory it has towards Earth in the most benevolent trajectory for all beings. That's all you're saying. Some of you will feel a strong energy while you're reaching towards that object moving in space. Now, when you move your fingers like this, I don't know if you can see that very well, but I want you to tap the object with the back of your fingers, never with the palm, all right? You're going to tap it with the back of your fingers. Part of that has to do with politeness, because you're asking the object to move, and if somebody asked you to move, and you were in a position that was the most comfortable for you, well, you'd want to be asked in a very gentle way. And a gentle way utilizing this system is with the backs of your fingers. All right? And you make a gesture, just moving your fingers a tiny bit. Just a little bit, see? And that's all. All right? Now, practice on the branch of the tree, using the backs of your fingers. But since the tree is of earth, you can also use the fronts of your fingers too, if you want to. I'll have more to say about these things in time, but you now have all that you need to know in order to gently move one of these objects. Do not try to move anything else. I have put things in place to keep you from making serious mistakes, but try to avoid making such mistakes yourself. remember that what you're being taught on this video site, youtube.com Benevolent Magic, and on the written blogs as well as in the books for that matter, is how to live on Earth benevolently and have the most benevolent effect on the lives of all beings here on Earth and beyond. So you are learning not only how to be a good Earth citizen, but also how to be a good citizen of all worlds. Try to remember that. Good life.